This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Jaguar's strategy to survive is to go all electric and double its prices. That's pretty risky considering current market conditions, and a number of its dealers are dropping the brand. Jag stopped producing all but one of its ICE vehicles over a year ago, so it has essentially been out of the market. The first of its new EV models, a four-door sedan, goes on sale next year, and Jaguar is aiming to double its average transaction prices from $65,000 to $130,000. But since its dealers have been dropping out, the models will mostly be sold at dealers that also sell Land Rovers. Jaguar only sold a little over 64,000 vehicles in 2023, and that was before it started phasing out its lineup. That wasn't enough volume to sustain the brand, which is why it's trying to double prices and become more exclusive. But that still means it will have to juggle lower volume. Chinese automakers have been on a tear, both in their home market and overseas. Up till now, only a handful of them have made a profit. But we may be starting to see that turn around. Leapmotor, which is partly owned by Stellantis, posted a first-half profit of $4.6 million. That is not a lot of money, but last year it lost $300 million in the first half. And sales are growing faster than it expected, so the second half should be even better. XPeng expects its sales and revenue to more than double in the next quarter, and Xiaomi also narrowed its losses in the last quarter and expects to be profitable in the second half of the year. Xiaomi announced plans to expand into Europe in 2027 as well. The top Chinese automakers are strong competitors, and if more of them start making money, they're only going to get tougher. About 2 years ago, Tesla removed the Model 3's turn signal stalk, which got incorporated into a button on the steering wheel, as well as the gear selector and windshield wiper stalk, which got incorporated into the center screen. Well, one of those features is coming back, at least in China. All new Model 3s will now come standard with the turn signal stalk again, and Tesla will sell it to owners that have the updated Model 3 for $350. Owners all around the world complained when Tesla got rid of the feature, so we wouldn't be surprised to see the update spread to other markets as well. And speaking of Tesla in China, the stretched version of the Model Y is officially launching and starts at just over $47,000. The wheelbase of the Model YL is about 6 inches longer, overall length is up by a little over 7 inches, and it's also a little taller. That allowed Tesla to add a third row, giving the Model YL room for 6 passengers, which will open it up to more of the market. And with sales down at Tesla, a broader market appeal is a good thing. It's also why we think it brings the turn signal stalk back to other markets.
Performance that shines, even in the rain. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Potenza tires, improved grip in wet conditions.
The Audi brand that Audi created specifically for the Chinese market, which has its name spelled out in all caps instead of the 4-ring logo, and will use a platform that it developed with SAIC, is about to launch its first model. The Audi E5 Sportback will be offered in 4 trim levels. There will be battery packs that range from 76 to 100 kilowatt hours. Both rear and all-wheel drive are available, and output spans from about 300 up to 770 horsepower. The interior is fairly simple and is dominated by a nearly 60-inch display screen that runs off of Qualcomm technology. The vehicle will also be supported by an ADAS system that comes from Momenta. Pricing will range from about $33,000 to $44,500, and 2 more models built at the same plant in China as the E5 will be coming in the next 2 years. Audi formed its partnership with SAIC for these models 2 years ago, and I don't think it could have created similar vehicles on its own in that amount of time without SAIC. NIO is slashing the price of its long-range battery in China by nearly $3,000. The 100 kilowatt-hour pack, which is an option in most of NIO's models, will now cost $15,000, and anyone that's already purchased a vehicle with the battery so far this year will receive the same discount. Since NIO's packs are swappable, it also allows owners to upgrade to a bigger pack, and it will now cost anyone that permanently upgrades to the 100 kilowatt-hour battery a little over $5,000, which includes the same discount as purchasing the pack outright. So, if a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack costs $15,000, that means that NIO's retail customers are paying $150 per kilowatt-hour. Back in April, Volkswagen signed a deal with Uber to supply it with autonomous ID.BUZZes. At the time, the company said the deal was for thousands of vehicles, but now we know the exact number. Automotive News reports that the order is for 10,000 ID.BUZZes over the next 10 years. Uber plans to start adding the autonomous vans to its fleet next year, first in Los Angeles. The robotaxi business is expected to really take off by the end of the decade. ABI Research estimates that there will be 11 million shared driverless vehicles globally by 2030. BMW released a bit more information about its 6th-gen electric motors that will be used in its new Class EV models. By completely redesigning the rotor, stator, and inverter, BMW says it took out 20% of the cost, 10% of the weight, and reduced energy loss by 40% compared to its previous version. The 800-volt motor also uses silicon carbide microprocessors for more efficiency. They'll be made in-house alongside gasoline and diesel engines at BMW's engine plant in Austria. Not surprisingly, EV startups and Chinese automakers rank the highest in Gartner's 2025 Digital Automaker Index. The study looked at 24 automakers and focused on how much of a priority software is at the company, as well as how advanced a company's software technology is. Tesla ranked number 1 for the 3rd year in a row, and the rest of the top 5 are all Chinese automakers. NIO is second, followed by Xiaomi, XPeng, and Li Auto. General Motors and the Hyundai Group were the only legacy automakers to rank in the top 10 at number 9 and 10 respectively. Gartner says legacy automakers struggled because they haven't shown substantial leadership or cultural changes, and they haven't made major progress with their tech to become digitally competitive in the future. The giant mining company Glencore just acquired Canadian EV battery recycling company Li-Cycle, which filed for bankruptcy in May. Glencore bought its assets through a court-approved sales process and paid just over $43 million for Li-Cycle's plants in the US, Europe, and Canada, as well as its intellectual property. It seems like a strange acquisition, but Glencore was a major backer of the startup, investing $200 million in Li-Cycle in 2022. Glencore already does a lot of recycling and will likely fold Li-Cycle into those operations. And that's a wrap for today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet wireless NIO Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With wireless NIO Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless NIO Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.